Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to give you an update of what's going on here in the Philippines and about some more travel news. Stick around. Okay guys, so we have some news coming out. Not a ton of major information coming out, really a lot of the same old news that we've heard before, but I'm going to go into it a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the news article that just came out on the 9th. Record hunger in the Philippines as COVID restrictions bite. Now here in Dumaguete, Negros Oriental, I don't see it as much as in other places, I think, because I think the economy over here in Dumaguete is actually pretty good. It has a large expat community. I think there are a lot of richer Filipinos that live here as well. And everything seems to be less restrictive here than it was in, let's say, Davao or Cebu and Manila and places like that. So it hasn't been in my face, seeing people begging on the street and stuff like in maybe other places. However, one thing I have noticed since the beginning of the pandemic, I've said this before, but in my neighborhood, for example, there were no vegetable or fruit stands or nobody selling barbecue or no food stalls of any sort. And now, just in my little neighborhood, there's probably a dozen food stalls selling anything from banana Q, which is the deep fried banana, to vegetables, to fruits, to barbecue, to tempura, to eggs. All of that is being sold here just in my neighborhood. And before the pandemic, nothing. There was none of that going on. And I see it along the sides of the streets as well. So I can only imagine in other areas of the Philippines, this is really happening too. Probably one of the easiest jobs and ways to generate income, I would imagine, for the Filipino people is to just go buy some fruits and veggies and maybe make some food and sell it right on the roadway. And there's no restrictions here like there would be, for example, in the U.S. You couldn't just go to the street corner and start selling food, and you couldn't put a little table and chair out there and start selling your fruits and vegetables. No, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. But here, there seems to be no problem whatsoever. You can just pop up on any road corner and just start selling stuff. So, but that's good because it's a way to keep them afloat. Well, let's go through a few numbers here, and then we'll look at some other news here regarding the Department of regarding the Department of Tourism. Okay, so charities are struggling to meet the ever-growing demand for food as millions of families go hungry across the country. COVID-19 restrictions have crippled the economy and thrown many out of work. Again, we're in a case of is the cure worse than the the virus, right? I mean, the pandemic and the lockdown is starting to become worse than the actual virus itself. People dying of starvation and really struggling. This charity worker says, "I've never seen hunger at this level before." She's an executive director of the Rise Against Hunger in the Philippines, which works with more than 40 partners to feed the poor. If you go out there, everybody will tell you that they're more afraid of dying from hunger than dying from COVID. They don't care about COVID anymore. The number of people going hungry has reached a record high during the pandemic, according to a pollster, Social Weather Stations. And one other number, nearly 1/3 of families, or 7.6 million households, that's households, not people, did not have enough food to eat at least once in the previous 3 months. It's September survey showed. Okay. Among them were 2.2 million families experiencing severe hunger, the highest ever. These numbers have been going up since May, 2 months after the country went into a severe lockdown, reversing a downward trend since 2012. So Philippines was actually economically coming back up, and since the pandemic, things have been going down. Now, I am not going to read the entire article. I will have it linked as usual down in the comments. You guys can read the whole thing for yourself. But yeah, there are food lines and people who have lost their home, their job, sleeping in a flattened cardboard box at night. Now, does this happen already in the Philippines, or did it happen before? Certainly, it's got a high unemployment rate anyway, in starving people and people living in poverty, but even more so now. But again, I'm going to let you guys read the comment. The news article. So moving on to the next one, and I think this has been covered by other vloggers, so I won't go too much into it. But I had talked about Cebu Pacific CEO coming out and saying that they don't want to allow travel unless you have a vaccine for COVID. So the Department of Tourism backs creation of COVID-19 passport. Now, I have mentioned this before, but I remember in the early 90s when I took my very first trip, I went to Panama. I was required to have a vaccine shot record. It was like like yellow and it unfolded. And I remember I think I had to have typhoid, yellow fever, some various vaccines. Now, so is it that different than how things were previously? Maybe not. I suppose the one difference is that a lot of people are afraid to take the vaccine because they feel like it really hasn't been tested and it doesn't have the amount of time put into it that most vaccines take. Most vaccines take years to come out with, and this COVID one was pretty rushed. So I think that's the big fear with a lot of people. I'm not going to get into too much more. I'm going to let you guys read the article, but they are saying that they're throwing their support behind proposals to implement a globally recognized COVID-19 passport to help restore trust and confidence in the travel and tourism sector. This has also come out with Australian Airlines saying they won't allow anybody to fly without the COVID-19 vaccine. I think this is going to gain more steam as things move along, and I think it's probably going to be something that we might, if you want to travel, you might just have to have it. So, couple interesting points though within the article. They say they want the COVID-19 passport to facilitate international cross-border travel with stringent health and safety measures in place during the year-end tourism stakeholders forum hosted by budget airline Cebu Pacific. They recognize that a COVID-19 passport is vital to reviving international travel as it will restore the trust and confidence of people to travel to other countries while assuring receiving countries that their inbound tourists have been vaccinated. There's one more thing I was going to read, and then I will let you guys comment down below and let me know what your feelings are. So they're looking at various options and exploring ways for tourists to move around safely and conveniently. Okay, here's the part that I was talking about. So the 3 vaccines, significant progress in the world's fight against COVID-19, but until these are made available to everyone, the international travel will most likely be restricted to select zones between countries that have little to no cases of infection. And it says, because we have no control over factors affecting the COVID-19 situation worldwide, we had focused our attention on restarting domestic tourism. And you guys can see that article up above here. And creating safe travel zones within our country, the tourism chief said. He was hopeful that the Philippines could access 10 to 15 million doses in the second quarter of 2021, particularly May, June, or July. Now, if anybody knows, the Philippines has a little bit over 100 million people. I'm going to put this article down below. You guys let me know your questions and comments. We all know how the domestic tourism is going to look. I talked about that on my last video. So how do you guys feel about this? Let me know down in the comments. We'll have that discussion. Again, like I said, this is not going to be a real long video, just a quick update. I don't have a whole lot more to report to you. But I'll be getting out and doing some more videos here real soon. getting outside and not just doing news updates. So, guys, don't forget, if you found this information helpful, please share the video. Hit the thumbs up to help the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. That will keep you updated when I come out with more information of things happening here in the Philippines and whenever I have live streams and new videos. Thank you guys, and see you next time.